And during all of this, I am consciously aware that I am somewhere else and I am internally freaking out because I don't know if I'm going to get back.
As you would, yes.
I don't know if I'm going to get back. I don't know what the ramifications are of this. And thoughts are just flying through your mind. And it's terrifying to say the least.
All right. Make sure everything's good. All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Broadcasting Seeds. I am your host, Bennett, and today we are sitting down with Jamie Kelley. Now, I'm going to let Jamie tell us who she is, what she does, and what's the best place to find her. Thanks for coming on, Jamie.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Like you said, I am Jamie Kelley. I am a wife, a mom. I work full time, and I am brand new to field research and all things high strangeness, but they have been in my life for quite a while. I just didn't know really how to navigate it. So that's who I am.
Yeah. So give us a little background. What is your gateway to this world of high strangeness? A lot of times I used to say gateway drug, but
I mean,
because it's like a drug, frankly.
absolutely.
But yeah. So what was your first intro to this world?
So my origin story, I grew up in a house that had a mimic, and I would see apparitions from time to time in the house. I would hear my mother call my name, but my mother wouldn't be home. So that was that was odd.
It always
And I
sucks.
just kind of grew up with it in the back of my mind, like, okay, that's there. Just go on about your business. And it never really affected me in any sort of way. And in 2014, I was baptized and I started seeing entities in the doorway of my bedroom. Um, and in between, growing up in 2014, I hadn't really had any additional experiences. So it was all kind of flooding back to me of, okay, this is back. So let's see, and also in 2014, I was living in apartment by myself. I just got my first big girl job, and I I went to lunch with a coworker, and this waitress comes up to us, and the first thing I noticed is that her mouth is moving very odd, like something is trying to speak for her. And the coworker notices that I notice, and she's like, just hang on a second. And she looks at the waitress and she says, I know who you are. The lights go out in the restaurant. There's this huge surge of energy that's like, I'll never be happy again, just complete darkness. And the restaurant goes silent. Like, it's a packed restaurant. I don't know if anybody
Mhm.
else is there in that moment. I don't know if we shifted somewhere else, but it was super odd. And the waitress walks off, and I just sit there with this realization that this world is so much more crazier than I ever thought possible.
Yeah.
So, 2024, I started praying for God to use me in spiritual warfare. I
Mm.
didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know if he would utilize me in any way, but that's what was laid on my heart. So that's what I prayed for. And also in that time frame, I started having reoccurring demonic dreams. I
Mm.
would be in a location I wasn't familiar with, and this person would walk up to me and we'd just start having a conversation. And then all of a sudden the energy would shift. And I knew that this was about to go, south in a dark place. So I'd start trying to say the name Jesus. And the entity in front of me would either, prevent me from saying it or physically put their hand over my mouth to where I couldn't say Jesus. And I didn't take that
Wow.
I didn't take that
Yeah,
as
that's
it
intense.
was, and it really affected me, but I'm like, well, you're praying for spiritual warfare. So this is probably,
Here it
yeah, this is
is.
probably a type of learning, event. So you need to take away from it how you feel, how to react, what to do. Like you're being taught something, so soak it up.
Yeah.
So, um, and I also have two older sisters, and they are into high strangeness as well. So, um, my oldest sister, Amy, she was like, I want to go to this Bigfoot conference. We want to see one of our favorite podcasters. And we're like, okay, cool, let's go. And I really began to dig into Bigfoot in 2024. My my sisters,
It's always the freaking
it is
gateway.
that is the gateway drug. Bigfoot is the gateway drug.
Yeah.
Um, but my sisters have had Bigfoot encounters, and after hearing their encounters, I was like, okay, I'll dig into it. So we go to this conference, we see our favorite podcaster, and
Who is that, by the
it's
way?
Jessica Jones, the cryptid hunter.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Jess. I know. Yeah. The
And
the
yes,
huntress.
and
Yes. She's great.
she's
She is
so
great.
sweet. Um, my sister Amy, before we went, she was like, "Man, what if they let us go out in the field?" And we're kind of like, I don't know. They don't usually let people go out, that are new, and that's just a
Yeah.
liability. They probably won't. But I kind of had this gut feeling that they would. And I said that to my sisters. I'm like, they might let us go. Yeah, I don't know. So we get to the conference, and we're hanging out, and my sister goes up to Jessica and she's like, "Can we go out in the field with you?" Jessica said, "Yeah, come on, let's go." So we go back we go back home, we get a nap, we're on like cloud nine. We are so excited. And my sister Amy kind of starts getting apprehensive. She's like, "They're not gonna let us go. We haven't heard from anybody. It's been hours." And I'm like, "They're gonna let us go. I feel it, they're gonna let us go." So finally we get that text message, and Jessica's like, "Meet us here, let's go." So we hop in the car, we're on the way, just so excited. So we get there, and I finally get to meet members of Seekers. And I meet
Mhm.
um, Sean, who will come into play later. That was my first time meeting him. So we're hanging out, we're having a good time. There's not much going on. And Jessica and Matthew, they're like, we're going to go down this service road. And without asking, not that I have to ask my sisters, but without really processing this, I'm like, I'm going to go by myself. Nobody, I don't know these people. I'm going to go. Um, so we head down this service road, no headlamps, and I start getting this feeling in the pit of my stomach, and it's something I've never felt before. And it rolls up into my chest, and then it rolls up into my throat, and I'm like, what is this? Like, am I having a medical episode? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And I just kind of I sit on it because I'm like, I don't know what this is, and it grows, it gets more intense. And again, I continue to sit on it because I'm new and I don't want to come across as, being afraid or all the
Yeah.
things.
Right.
But it finally got to a point where it was so overwhelming that I said to Jessica, I'm feeling something and I don't really know what it is, but I'm just letting you know. And she's like, yeah, I kind of feel it too. Let's turn back. So we go back, and as we're walking, I hear in my head, look down. And I'm
Ooh.
like, okay. So I turn my headlamp on, I look down, and there's a print. Um, and I don't know, I'm not a skilled tracker.
Now the voice. What did you hear? Do you remember? Like, was it more like, was it a something else, or was it more like, because especially us folks that are kind of
Well, yeah,
tuned in with the Holy
yeah,
Spirit, like there's, like I can tell the
yeah.
difference. So
I would say it was more like a thought, but it was so loud. It was so pronounced.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
just
Okay.
I had to stop and I had to look. Like I couldn't just not do it.
Right.
So but yeah, I'm not a skilled tracker. Don't know what to look for, but there's that. So we go back to the group, and I'm just kind of processing all of that. And I'm like, you sensed something. You felt something. So maybe pay attention to that. Maybe that's going in line with, the whole spiritual warfare that you prayed for. So, um, 2025, I end up going to a Bigfoot conference by myself, way out of character for me. I don't go and do things, by myself. But I end up meeting more members of Seekers. I meet Trey Hudson and Greg Ogles, Angie, and Melissa. And I'm just like, I like these people. They're awesome.
Uh-huh.
They answer my questions, very kind.
Yeah, I've met Greg before, and he's a good
Yeah.
dude. I know he wouldn't remember me
Oh, I'm sure
probably
he
because
would.
I was one of, but it was at the Great Smoky. Oh my God, the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot
Yeah.
Conference. I, that's kind of how I found you
Hmm.
guys. But I haven't reached out to Greg to be like, dude, let's do an episode.
He
So
would.
we'll get there. We'll get there though. No, it's just a matter of I want to kind of put some things in order because he's kind of he's got
Hmm.
relic and everything.
Hmm.
So anyway, sorry
No,
to
you're
interrupt
fine.
you. Go ahead.
So I meet them and they're like, "Hey, we've got this outing coming up in July. Do you want to go?" Without thinking things through, without processing, I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there. I'm going." So, just a few things about me. I have never been camping. I have never been on an overnight excursion. And my husband he doesn't really care about Bigfoot. So,
He's like, it's not his
no,
jammy. It's
it's
not my wife's
yeah.
jammy though.
That's usually how
She's
it
like,
is.
you're
Those
great.
two people marry
Yeah.
each other.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so I had to do 3.
Talk about opposites, right?
Yes. I had
Yeah.
to do 3 big things. I had to secure the funds to buy gear. I had to buy all of the
Mhm.
gear and make sure it arrived on time and I had everything that I needed. And then I had to ask my husband, "Can I go?" Not ask him, but, you know, "Can I go
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Can I go by myself to
in the woods with strangers?"
these weird
Yes,
people
to look
that
for Bigfoot. Okay. That was the monumental task, but I
yeah,
accomplished all of those things seamlessly. Like, they just worked out, and I'm like, "Okay."
awesome.
So, July rolls around, and I remember driving.
And this is July of
Yes,
2025, right?
yes.
Yeah.
I remember driving to the site, and I'm like, "This is either the worst idea you've ever had or absolutely the best." Because I've only met these people one time, but I'm putting a
Yeah.
lot of faith, a lot of trust in them. But it feels right. It feels like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And when you're in reality and you're processing this, you're like, "Okay, this is kind of insane, but it feels right, so I'm gonna do it." Anyway, I get there, get to base camp, set up all my gear, and, we're just talking, hanging out, and then the time comes for us to go out on the expedition. And we get teamed up into teams of 4, and it is me, Sean, Kristen, and Tony. And we're walking to our location, and we get to an area they call Ambush Alley. And I begin to get that feeling in the pit of my stomach that rolls up into my chest, that rolls up into my
Mhm.
throat. And I'm like, okay, you're feeling this again. So there's something here. You need to pay attention. So we get to the site and it's by a body of water. And there's frogs just, they're croaking so loud. And we get our gear out, we're getting set up, and Tony and Sean begin to do whoop calls. And immediately after that, the frogs start going nuts and they sound almost sick. I don't know. It's a weird sound and it's like this isn't
Mhm.
natural. This Something's going on. And about that time, Kristen captures on her thermal this bipedal creature peeking behind a tree. So Sean hands me his night vision. I look through it. I don't see anything. He hands me his thermal and I see it. This is my first time seeing possibly Bigfoot, and I think I said something along the lines of, "I am not responsible enough to do this."
That's
But
great.
in at that moment, my world expanded. It exploded. My head
Yeah,
exploded.
yeah.
I
I was
mean,
about to say it
yeah,
exploded.
I'm no longer alone in the universe, and that was pretty significant. But nothing really happened besides that. So we go back to base camp, go to sleep, get up the next day, and at base camp we're sharing our stories, we're sharing our faith. It's a really good conversation, and time rolls around for us to get back out in the field, and I'm paired up with Sean, and they're like, "Well, where do y'all want to go?" And I pipe up without asking Sean, "I want to go to Ambush Alley because that's where I felt something." So they're like, "Okay, cool." So we head out, we get to Ambush Alley, we sit down, and Sean and I are facing opposite. So he is looking up at a higher hill type area, and I'm looking
Mhm.
at an open field. Um, so we've got like a 360 kind of purview. And we sit there, we're talking, looking through night vision, looking through thermal. Not much is going on. And I'm asking Sean tons of questions because, he's very experienced, very knowledgeable, and I'm brand new. So I've got all the questions. But as we're sitting there, I begin to get that feeling in the pit of my stomach and rolls up into my chest, rolls up into my throat, and it's getting very intense. And I say something to Sean. I'm like, I'm feeling this, and I don't really know what it is. And to Sean's benefit, he didn't understand. You can't feel how other people are feeling,
Yeah,
and he's
right.
been doing this. I don't know how many years, so he's probably thinking it's nerves. She's nervous. So he's like, okay, it's gonna be all right. You're fine. Um, so I'm sitting there, and like I said, the feeling gets really, really intense, and I see this flash of light in the sky, and I say something to Sean. I'm like, "Did you see that?" And he's like, "No, I didn't see anything." And as soon as I said that, I am immediately launched into a reality that was not where I was. And
Mhm.
I physically, mentally understand that I am not where I was. So I am sitting there and I am observing all of this. And there is a visible gray hue applied to the landscape. Um, there's a wall of fog over the landscape, and bushes, trees, rocks, they all have this prism type outline to them. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking,
But everything's the same. It's just
no,
no.
no,
Okay, so it's totally
it,
different.
it's extremely different. It it
Okay.
almost mimics like where I was, but it is
Yeah, but do you know what I'm saying? Kind of like I guess the best way to describe this is it's like the upside down. What
Stranger Things.
from Stranger
Yeah.
Things. So do you know what I
Oh yeah.
mean? Is it like a direct like the rocks are the same, but they look different?
So trees that were in front of me were no longer there.
Okay,
Um, but
gotcha.
it looked like where I was, but it wasn't where I
Right,
was. And
understand.
it's amazing that you said that because after I came out of it, I said to Sean, "It looked like the upside down from Stranger Things." That's my
Yeah.
exact words.
Well, because if we've had that experience, we've had that
Mhm,
experience.
mhm.
So I get it.
Um, so this happens 2 other times. So I shifted dimensionally, realms,
Mm,
whatever you wanna call it, 3 times total. And while I did this, Sean did not. He stayed
mm.
in in the current realm. He did not shift at all. So there were 2 different realities happening at the same time, which is,
Yep.
I mean, that's quantum level stuff. Like that's
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
so that
Why you? I might be
no, you're
jumping the
not. You're
gun a
not.
little, but
Because
yeah,
these are all questions that I've asked myself.
yeah,
So some theories, I may have been an easy target. I didn't fight it. I didn't
yeah.
know what was happening. And then, just I'm in proximity to someone who has not encountered this exact thing, but is really into the high strangeness stuff, whereas I was not. So I'm being initiated, baptism by
Yeah.
fire, you know?
Yeah. But has Sean ever had an experience like that? At least
No.
that you know of? Yeah. So I was just these are all
Yeah,
just
you're fine. You're
things,
fine.
little
You're
nuggets.
good. Um, so Sean, he's taking note on his watch when all of these things seem to happen, and it seems to
Yep.
be in about a 5-minute increment. So
Mm.
he's like, I've got to keep track of this because when we do our review, I've obviously got to tell them all of this. So we're sitting there and it seems to subside a little bit, a little bit of time goes on. And all of a sudden we hear this tree snap, pop, pop, crunch. And the third pop is extremely loud to where it almost has like a slight echo. So our attention is immediately drawn to our right. And immediately after that, I hear an owl sound to my left.
Ooh.
Yeah. So as I am panning from right to left to look in that direction of the sound, I see this really colorful ball of light in the sky. And it is orange and green and it's moving like plasma. And I remember thinking to myself, is that
Like an orb.
like an orb? I
Mhm.
remember thinking to myself, is that a UFO? I don't know why I thought that, but I did. So immediately after the owl sound, I am again shifted into this other realm dimension.
Now, was it a barred owl? Or do you know what kind of owl? It's not, it doesn't, you don't have to be specific. I'm just wondering. Cause
I think so.
I've, yeah. I mean, did it, yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, owls are out. Like people hear hoot and they're like
Yeah.
owl, but there's different types of
Yeah.
owl, obviously, right? But barred owls have a pretty distinct. I just was wondering if
So
you knew.
what's interesting about that,
And where is it?
where are we?
Yeah,
So
just like region.
the South.
Okay, like
No,
Kentucky,
we're in
Alabama,
Georgia.
Georgia.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's probably a barred owl.
No,
Anyway,
you're fine. But what's interesting about that is I communicate to Sean, I think I just heard a dog bark. But something to consider is my speech is severely I'm having a hard time from, brain to mouth.
yeah,
So I
I
think I communicated a familiar sound, but in my memory, it's an owl. So,
okay.
all right,
But he said
I
dog.
did. I said it sounds like a dog bark,
Gotcha.
or I think I just heard a dog bark is what I said. But he did not hear an owl. He did not hear a dog bark. He just heard 3 pops.
Understand.
So, um, I am back in this realm, just kind of sitting there, observing, looking around, and this lasts longer than the first 3 times. I don't know how long I was there, but it lasted longer, it felt like. And during all of this, I am consciously aware that I am somewhere else, and I am internally freaking out because I don't know if I'm gonna get back.
As you would, yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna get back. I don't know what the ramifications are of this, and you're just thoughts are just flying through your mind, and it's terrifying to say the least, but I end up coming out of it, and this time I feel more cognizant, I feel more anchored to reality, I feel like I can move, I can talk, I feel like I'm back somewhere. I'm not sure where I am, but I'm back somewhere. And I look over at Sean, and he has a very, scared look on his face, and, he says to me, "Everything changed. The entire landscape changed." And I said, "Okay." Sean has just experienced what I have experienced. So, a part of me, well, I don't want to say happy, but a part of me was kind of relieved that Sean had experienced it. Um,
Probably made you feel less crazy.
that and somebody that I could relate to, somebody that, you know,
Yeah.
but the other part of me was extremely sad and distraught for him because I knew exactly what he was going through. Um, so I'm sitting there and I'm kind of being like a grounding point to him. I'm like, hey, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. And he stands up and he's like, I hear footsteps. Well, I don't hear footsteps. And then he goes further and he's like, I hear them everywhere. They're everywhere.
Mm.
I'm not hearing anything. I'm not seeing anything. So I realize that things are escalating to a point of possibly no return. I'm not sure, but things are about to go down and I can feel it. And the only thing that I know to do is run over to Sean and I put my hands on his arms and I call out to Yahweh. And I just said, Yahweh, we need you. We're in trouble. Sean needs you. And I pray the blood of Yeshua over Sean. And once I end the prayer, it seems that Sean is fully cognizant. Sean is back. So I'm like, okay. And I can sense things have maybe kind of calmed down, in the moment. And Sean looks at his watch and he says, we've got some missing time. When the pop pop crunch happened, it was 12:05. It is now 12:45. So Sean and I both shifted that time after the tree snap
So we've got about what, half hour
of yeah,
missing time?
well, it's 40 minutes to a half hour.
Yeah, yeah.
So I say, okay, that's not good. A lot can happen in
Yeah.
that amount of time, and I was not consciously, physically with my body, so anything could have happened. Um, so Sean, we both have radios. I could not operate my radio during all of this. I could now, I could today, but in that time, I could not operate my radio. And Sean had tried to call out to the rest of the group many times, and we were not getting through. But
Mm.
his radio would key up on my radio, but we wouldn't get anything, just static, which is extremely odd. So
Not surprising. Now you
yeah.
know.
So we eventually get comms. Sean, he gets a hold of the groups and he's like, hey, we're experiencing some anomalous stuff. And the groups can actually hear the fear in his voice. And they said, are you okay? And Sean said, I don't know. And Sean is not the person that doesn't know if he's okay. That's one
Yeah.
solid dude, and he knows if he's okay. So that was an immediate signal to the groups, okay, we've got to go get them. So the other groups are running to us. And I think the closest group to us was about a quarter of a mile. So they,
It's not
yeah.
bad.
So as we're sitting there waiting on the groups to get to us, we're in disbelief. We are in shock, but we're also communicating to each other. What if we are stuck in the upside down? What if we are not where we're supposed to be? And Sean got back on the radio, and Tony and Kristen, they're like, we're at this location. We're almost to you. And Sean said, okay, we're going to have our flashlights out. Have your white lights on. And I remember thinking, what happens if I see them, but they don't see me? And
Mm.
that was extremely terrifying because I thought that was possibly the reality of I'm in a different realm or dimension and they can't see me. They're just gonna walk right past us. So we're sitting there and I see the headlamps coming through the woods and I'm like, oh thank God. I mean, it felt like hours until they got to us, but it was probably, 10, 15 minutes. But they finally make their way to us and Tony is first. And I remember reaching my hand out to him and I said, I have to touch you to make sure you're real. Are you real? And I made that connection. I touched his hand and I'm like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
physical, he's
Nice.
physical, we're somewhere together. Hopefully it's back where we started. And then Kristen's next, and I do the same thing. I have to touch you to make sure you're real. I make that physical contact and I'm like, okay, all right, we are good. So we end up sitting down and, doing a review and I'll never forget Trey sitting down on an embankment and he takes his helmet off and he sighs and he says it's time to start considering that the phenomena is following us. And in that moment, I realized you're in deep trouble. You have crossed a threshold that you didn't even know about,
Yep.
but you're in deep trouble. So the seriousness, the realness, it was all, it was sinking in. And I knew, I did my research into Trey and the Meadow Project and all the things. So in my mind, it was, well, I'm going to look for Bigfoot. If I see a portal, just avoid it. Don't, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's just a portal
Yeah,
in the
just
woods. It's all
just
good.
avoid it. So that was my mindset, blissfully unaware. I'm not saying that I went through a portal. That's not what I'm saying, but
Yeah. No, no. I totally understand what you're saying.
so during the after action review, I remember hearing someone say, there's an orb behind us. And I immediately like tensed up and I'm like, oh, here we go. I didn't want the whole group to essentially maybe experience this and then we all really do get stuck somewhere. That was kind of my thought
Yeah.
process. But luckily nothing else happened. Um, so we start heading back to base camp and as we are walking, I am being followed by owls. Just loudly sounding off, and it is triggering to me, and I say something out loud to
Mhm.
the group. But, we get back to
They can hear the owls too, though? Okay.
we get
'Cause that
yeah,
matters.
it does.
Yeah.
We get back to base camp, and, I lose it. I mean, I'm bawling my eyes out, and,
Why did I ever do this? Like,
I was more worried about, I guess, the ramifications of what had just happened. I wasn't you can never be fully prepared of the ramifications until it happens to
no.
you, but I knew I was probably going to have some ramifications. So um, I sleep maybe 3 hours, um, maybe.
Maybe.
And I remember before I fell asleep, I prayed. I said, God, thank you for being there. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for letting me help Sean. Um, so I woke up the next morning and I had this knowing, I had this understanding that I was supposed
Mhm.
to be there. I was supposed to experience that, and I was supposed to help Sean. And I'm like, okay, if that's that, then it is what it is. So I go, well, I pack up my camping stuff, get in the car, heading out, and just say a prayer. I'm like, Yahweh, if there is anything here of the enemy that thinks it has a foothold, to follow me home, it does not. I do not allow it permission. In Yeshua's name I pray. Amen.
Well done, well done.
So I get home and the spiritual warfare did not stop there.
No.
And this whole thing has obviously been, a huge learning experience for me. But when I got home, it almost felt like a piece of me was still there. Um, I would hear crickets and cicadas periodically. in my home, and, that's a prevalent sound in the woods. That's all that I heard while I was there. So, just like a little, you know, reminder. I'm not really sure what the reasoning behind it was, but, and I also, um, would see things out of the corner of my eye, so
Mm,
much so that you do, like, a double take, like, you look and then you're like, "I know I just saw something." And I experienced that in the house that I grew up in, but not my home now.
yeah.
And then, I would hear pops in every room that I went in, and this isn't like my house settling, it's like it's a weird pop.
Now where?
It's in the ceiling.
Ah, yes. Yes. Because I know exactly what you're
Mhm.
talking about. Yep.
Um, and then,
Isn't that
it
wild?
is wild.
Do you still
Oh,
hear
yeah.
it? Okay.
And I'm like
Gotcha.
when I hear it, I'm like, "I
Ooh,
know
there
I
you
know who you are." Not really,
there
but,
you are.
um,
Yeah, yeah. No, I got you. Yep.
and electricity was extremely weird around me. Lights would buzz, flicker,
Yep.
just weird anomalies. And, about a week after, I went on a beach trip with my family, and we've got a house. Not we don't, we rented it. But we're in a house on the beach, and, I'm sitting outside by myself, and it's at night, and I hear something call my name from under the house, and I can tell that its
Mm.
intent is that it wants me.
It's that freaking clown from that movie.
I don't know what it was, but it was no,
Sorry. I'm just trying to lighten the mood just a touch.
no, you're fine. Um, if I tried to mimic it, that would definitely lighten the mood because it's kinda okay. It was like, "Jamie."
Nice.
So, um,
Yes.
and I could tell,
Nice and
yeah,
scary.
that its intent, it wanted me to go under the house to look for it, and I was like, "I'm just gonna."
Right, like, who's gonna do that, though? Like,
Somebody in a movie would, but not me.
exactly, it's
Not
true, but
me.
this ain't no movie.
Uh-uh. So I go inside, and I actually everybody else is asleep, but I text the rest of the family just to make sure. I'm like, "Are y'all messing with me?" Because let's also
Mm,
remember,
it's possible too,
I'm
right?
probably still going through PTSD at this point. Like,
Yeah,
I did crash out for about a week where I was a shell of a human being. I obviously had a paradigm shift, questioned my reality, questioned my whole world, but it lingered for a while. So, um, when they said, "No, we're not messing with you," I was like, "Okay, that's probably part of the after effects of what I encountered." So, um, and then once I got back from the trip, this bookshelf behind me, the pictures of me and my sisters were all face down. So I was like, "All right, don't know what you have against them, but noted." So
yeah,
the hitchhiker effect is real,
absolutely.
and,
Even if you even if you do your due diligence, uh, sometimes it doesn't matter. So it's like, what is that?
yeah,
You know? And I've been
yeah,
there. Um, so many people I know have been
yeah,
there. So it's one of those
yeah,
things. And this is why we do this, because we keep learning, right?
absolutely.
So,
So I never really felt threatened by anything. I never felt
mhm,
anything that wanted to, physically harm me, but I did one night kind of sense something was taking my energy. So I just shut it down and I was like, absolutely not, in the name of Yeshua, get out. But I did not sense that after that. So that was good. But yeah, the hitchhiker effect, in my opinion, it does not pick and choose.
mhm,
And when you encounter high strangeness, you are definitely subject to bringing that back. And
yeah,
what's interesting to me is I went and I looked for this stuff in their home. So it came to my home, which is supposed to be my safe place, and did checks on me. So
yep,
that kind of correlation is just interesting to me. But
True story.
It took me some time to obviously process that, but, did I go somewhere else? Was my consciousness hijacked? I don't know. To this day, I don't know, but, um, it was definitely a learning a learning experience, and, I am I am kind of happy that it happened to me, um, because like I said, I was praying for spiritual warfare, and all of these things that happen teaches you, do not be afraid, even though that's really hard sometimes not to be afraid, but do not be afraid,
Mhm.
and you can lean on Jesus, and he's gonna show up, and he's gonna be there. And spiritual warfare doesn't just end when you want it to.
Mm.
It's gonna keep going, and it's gonna keep changing, and you've gotta change with it. You've gotta update your tactics, you've gotta update your toolbox, you've gotta update all these things constantly, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally understand.
Mhm.
Um, all right. So, yeah, that's crazy. Um, I mean, it's not crazy. I can't say I've been through an exact
Yeah.
experience, of course, but it my audience is gonna kill me, but it
Mhm.
rhymes. That's what I always
Yeah.
say. Um, so let me ask you though, like you've probably analyzed this ad nauseum to an extent, right?
Multiple times a day.
Maybe not. Um, uh, what do you think? The one thing that gets me, is you think that possibly you still feel like something of you is there,
Mhm.
right? What do you think that is? What do you, now, do you still think that?
Not so much, like, the Hitchhiker effect, obviously it died down, like, things
Okay.
are not as crazy as they were, um, but, I mean, if we think about it, I something may have consciously hijacked me, my
Hmm.
perception,
Hmm.
and there was, this period of missing time, so we don't really know what happened. Um,
Yeah.
the possibilities are actually endless, but, crazier things have happened, but possibly, part of me fragmented. I'm not really sure,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, there is, I don't know. I don't want to say like soul
I know. I know.
fragmentation, but,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
possible. I mean, and those are, because you're opening doors,
Mhm.
man. When you're doing that
Mhm.
stuff, and we've all done it.
Mhm.
You're opening yourself to
Yeah.
it. So, but it's like, why? What I keep trying to wrap my head around in my
Yeah.
research is why there. Like you're out in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere. So is it is it actually where you're at, or is it who you're
Mhm.
with? Or you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or is it just that like it also is, it says to me that Trey said the phenomenon is following
Mhm.
us. What does that mean? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. And this is these are the questions we
These
all
are the
ask.
questions. I think
And we can give
yeah,
theories, but that's what they are.
absolutely, and at the end of the day, anybody that says that they know, be very wary of that because
Oh, they
nobody
don't know
knows.
shit. We don't know
No.
shit. That's the bottom
Yeah.
line.
Um, but in my opinion, the phenomena tracing the phenomenon following us, I think intent, I think belief, I think frequency, I think geographical location. I think all of
Mhm.
those things are relevant and do play a part in it. Um, and for some reason, uh, very secluded areas in the forest is where it resides, away from
Yes.
people. So I guess you could say it doesn't like people, but
Yeah. Or is it just there because
you're there.
or it's waiting? I this could be so many things.
We could we
It's
could have potentially been led there. Like I said, I felt led to
yeah,
go. I mean, yeah,
yeah, got what you asked
got what
for.
I asked for and more.
Yeah. That's huge with this. So I just yeah, I wrote a book on this whole like dealing with this
Yeah.
stuff. It's part of my experience was dealing with the spiritual warfare side
Mhm.
of this, not just but from back to my
Yeah.
childhood. But this is all part of it because I had an
Mhm.
experience. Um, I've had multiple
Mhm.
actually, very
Mhm.
similar. Not yeah, again, they rhyme.
Yes.
Um, and I don't really talk
Yeah.
about it. So it's kind of cool that you're talking about it and that brings it back to
Mhm.
me. And that's part of the reason I wrote um The War You Didn't Know You Were In.
I love that.
And it's a spiritual guidebook.
Mhm.
And people that read it understand. They're like, wait, this is not just like it's not the title, right? It's yeah, it's got to do with there's altars, there's all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah. And soul fragmentation, there's all kinds of things that we just don't
I
get
know.
in this world, like in our current understanding. And there's a lot of me that thinks that we are not supposed to get it.
Yeah.
We probably will at some
Yeah.
point, but probably not in this
Right.
realm, right? Um, and that's real to so many
Mhm.
people. And too many people just discount it outright. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Unless you're not done with that story.
No, that's all I've got.
Gotcha. And I think it's enough, you know. Now, since then, have what else have you experienced? Anything?
I did go to the LBL.
Which is again
Yeah.
hotbed for stuff like
Yeah.
this, and there's geographical things
Mhm.
there, right?
Mhm.
As you know.
Mhm.
But go
I
ahead.
mean, we encountered, potentially rakes, a portal, um, just normal normal
More
stuff. Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
normal, paranormal, streams stuff. So did you see the rake
There are 3 of them.
crawling
So,
or
we're standing there and, looking up kind of this hill, and we're in a cemetery, and I just see these
of
yeah.
course we're in a cemetery.
I just see these 3 figures in a line, and I think to myself, "Are those headstones?" And then I kinda pause and I, like, focus in on it, and they're
Yeah,
moving, and I'm like,
the waving back and
"Okay,
forth.
not headstones." So, yeah, but what was interesting is they did not show up on thermal, they did not show up on night vision,
Yeah,
but
right.
with the naked eye, which is usually not the case.
Yeah, wild. But they weren't crawling because that's a
Oh,
thing
yeah.
too.
Well, I had my back I have the survival instincts of a fart, apparently, but I had my back to it when it came at us, so
Did its
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
So I didn't see it, run.
Mm.
Luckily for Natalie, she saved us all.
Yeah, I heard all about it. So the portal to you, what did it
It was
look like to
very
you?
faint. I mean, I almost had a
Yep.
hard time seeing it. Um,
Now, here's another
okay.
question I've got.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
fine.
I'm just
It's
needling
okay.
in, but was it just in like the opening or was it like attached to a tree in any way?
It was so like, the cemetery didn't have any trees, but back in the wood line, It was just a little bit further back from the tree
Yep.
line and, um, like, little twinkle lights almost around it, and then you just saw, like, this oval, very faint, bluish, whitish looking.
Thing that
Yeah,
shouldn't be there.
yeah,
Gotcha. But in the
in
trees.
the trees.
Perfect. we have theories,
Yeah,
right? And my buddy just wrote another book, Liminal Trees, it's called.
okay,
So
awesome.
it's pretty
Yeah,
wild. Um, and this is ancient stuff. Like that goes back
before time.
thousands of
Mhm,
years. Yeah, in
mhm.
ancient things going on. Um, man. Um, all right. I'm kind of out of
No, you're fine.
like I wouldn't say I'm at a loss, which doesn't happen very often, but I just like that's pretty cool. I mean, the crazy part is it's like your second time out.
And that's
And that's like going down, and you're like, what the heck? I mean, I'm saying that the story that you
mhm,
told before is like the second time out. LBL to be your third, like, come on.
yeah,
It's almost like you're meant to do this stuff. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
Um, so I guess the one thing is you've probably come up on a personal level with against some skepticism. Have you talked about this with people that like like your
Yeah.
family? Like, have you really gone there with them or
So, when I came home from, my first real encounter, whatever that was, I had to tell my husband.
of course.
I'm like, I can't go through this and not have him know. So, I mean, that was hard because he does not want really anything to do with high strangeness, Bigfoot, all the things. So,
Yeah.
but he was very understanding, very loving, and like, "Hey, we'll get through this together." And of course, I told my sisters, and um,
They're probably like, "Oh my gosh."
yeah, they didn't. They were worried. Um, they knew the ramifications. They knew, uh, I was probably having PTSD. So, but
Uh-huh.
now that I'm talking about it openly, it doesn't really matter, if there are skeptics. Doesn't matter. This did happen. My intent with all of this is that I might help somebody because when I went through this, it was like I had nobody to talk to about it. The group seekers did help me, yes, but I really
Mhm.
wanted to find a source of you're experiencing this, this is going on, you'll probably experience this. It's going to be okay though. And I just want to be that person to somebody, even if it's one person, to help them get through it because
Yeah.
you will get through it and you will be okay. So,
Where do you want this to go?
I guess wherever God wants it to go.
Yeah. But you feel like you're still in it. Like you feel like you like did these experiences harden your resolve
Well,
uh to
if
participate,
it
I
fueled the
guess?
fire.
Yeah. So, well, that's cool. I'm just, some people they're like, nope, never going in the woods again.
And I hate
That
that.
kind of
I
thing.
do. There's a lot of innocent people out there that are hunting, camping, just doing innocent things, and they encounter this stuff and it ruins their love of the outdoors. It probably
Yeah.
ruins a lot of things for them, but it's unfortunate. So, and that's another thing, I feel like a lot of these sightings, encounters are going to ramp up. They are ramping up.
I I feel like they
They
are.
are.
Yeah.
Um, and people need an outlet. People need a source to go to. And that's why I'm thankful for people like you, Bennett, that have this kind of platform and give them a way to answer the questions that they can't
Mhm.
get answered. You know, no offense to the church, but the church doesn't really know how to handle this stuff. Nobody
They
knows
have
how
no
to handle
clue.
this stuff.
Some obviously,
Yeah,
but very far and
right,
few in
right.
between. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's so much. Well, yeah, it's so much bigger. I'm not going to get on my uh, soapbox about that, but you know, I've had some experiences, uh, really over the past year that showed me, that I think we're dealing in I think the church in a lot of ways is just handling all this completely it's not even the church,
Yeah,
sorry. It's just it's Christianity in general.
unfortunately.
I think that people don't understand what's actually going
Yeah,
on. So with that, it doesn't mean people are wrong or
right,
bad or it just means that they're not as educated as they could
right.
be.
Yeah,
And that this is real
yeah,
and that these problems um,
yeah,
exist. These things, and I say problems, but this stuff exists, and there's things you can do
yeah,
about it. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to get at is that you're we're in a war that you don't think you're in.
right,
People don't understand it. They don't realize
right.
it. That it's beyond tribal. It's beyond um, red versus blue. It's beyond the Patriots versus the
Mhm,
Seahawks. It's beyond all these things that it's literally good versus evil.
mhm,
And then there's a lot of gray in the
mhm.
middle of things that are just here.
Absolutely.
So, and might not play for either side.
Valid point. Yeah,
So there you
yeah.
go. Anyway, wrapping things up. Obviously the name of this podcast is Broadcasting Seeds, and I'd like the guests to plant some seeds as we leave the episode. So plant away, broadcast away whatever seeds you want to plant.
So I did want to say that when this happened to me, I obviously had to find a resource that would teach me about what I encountered. And the only people that truly did that were Nathaniel Gillis and Steve Mera. Their research into the phenomenon is impeccable and they are doing amazing work. And I highly recommend people to look into that because it affects all of us. So,
Say the names again.
Nathaniel Gillis and Steve Mera. Um, but yeah, I told myself I have to give them the credit, where it's due.
Where can people find them? Do you know?
So, Steve Mera has a YouTube channel and they do NHI discussions on there. They really drill down. And then Nathaniel Gillis, I mean, if you just type him into YouTube,
Yeah,
he's all over the place. So,
he's all over. He
yes.
really is. Yes.
Um, but yeah, it's crazier, it's wilder, it's more insane than people realize.
Mhm. True story. Um, so let everyone know again where they can find you.
So I am on the Beyond the Ordinary podcast. They release new episodes every Sunday, and I am on not YouTube. I am on Facebook and Instagram as Jamie Cairo, Kairo.
Yep. Okay. All right. Jamie, thank you so much for
Well,
coming
thank
on.
you, Bennett. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime you have new stuff, just let me
Okay,
know. We'll get you. Come on and tell some crazy ass
will
stories.
do.
All right.
I walked in like it was nothing. Just another night, just another trail. Boots on dirt, breathing steady. Didn't know I crossed the veil. There was something in the silence, like the woods were holding breath. Every shadow felt like watching, every step could wake the dead. started crawling up my spine like a voice that wasn't mine. Something moved between the trees and it followed me home. I was never meant to see what was never alone. Now the night won't let me sleep and the quiet won't stay. I left something in those woods, but it followed me away. Oh, it followed me away. Time got twisted, bent and broken. 40 minutes gone like smoke. I was standing in the same place, but the world I knew was choked. Sky turned gray like it was dying. Shapes were bending out of phase. I could feel it reaching through me like I slipped between two planes. Tried to speak but lost my name. Only one thing broke the chain. Something moved between the trees and it followed me home. I was never meant to see what was never alone. Now the night won't let me sleep and the quiet won't stay. I left something in those woods, or it followed me away. Or it followed me away. Call it fear, call it madness, call it something in between. But I know what I remember, even if it breaks me clean. There's a war you never notice till it's knocking at your door. And the things you thought were stories start becoming something more. You don't go looking for it. It decides when you see. And once it knows your name, it doesn't let you leave. Something moved between the trees and it followed me home. I was never meant to see what was never alone. Now the night won't let me sleep and the quiet won't stay. I didn't leave those woods behind. They're still inside my brain. Between the trees, I still hear them call. Between the trees, I never left it.